Yo, what up? What's poppin'? Back at it again with another video for y'all. And I was just wanting to chat with y'all. This is another one of those what if pro wrestling moments because we all remember, like, as wrestling heads, we remember that Elijah Burke, he was Chris Benoit's last opponent. And with Chris Benoit defeating Elijah Burke, aka the Pope D'Angelo De Niro, Chris Benoit was gonna go up against CM Punk for the ECW Championship. RIP Chris Benoit, because just like in the new song that I released, MVP versus Chris Benoit, he had the brain of a 70-year-old man with multiple concussions, and what he did was a tragedy. What he did was horrible, but it's just his brain was just so damaged. But I got a question. The match between Chris Benoit versus CM Punk that was supposed to go down, like, do y'all feel that Chris Benoit would have been the new ECW championship? Yeah, my fellow wrestling fans, let's chat about this. Let's have a discussion about this. Yeah, because that's the thing. Like, at the time, the ECW championship, it was vacant at the time. Chris Benoit and CM Punk, they was gonna go up against each other for the championship. But who do y'all feel would have won this match? I'm gonna give you my answer like I do as always. I feel that Chris Benoit would have won this match, and I do feel that the rivalry between Chris Benoit versus CM Punk would have been another great rivalry to happen in WWE history, but unfortunately, the tragedy happened. But yeah, I think they even said before that it was scheduled for Chris Benoit to win the championship. Yeah, because him and CM Punk, they was gonna go up against each other for the ECW championship. And that's the thing. CM Punk, he had went up against John Morrison for the ECW championship at SummerSlam, and CM Punk, he ended up winning the championship. And CM Punk was the ECW champion for like a long time until he got defeated by Chavo Guerrero. But what had happened was that Edge had interfered in that match. Edge had speared CM Punk, and Chavo Guerrero, he pinned CM Punk. But yeah, Chris Benoit versus CM Punk, this would have been another great pro wrestling rivalry. This would have been another nice rivalry for the championship. You know what I mean? Because the rivalry between MVP versus Chris Benoit, this was a rivalry that was a rivalry for the United States Championship, and you see, it had happened to where MVP ended up defeating Chris Benoit for the United States Championship, and after that rivalry was over, Chris Benoit was about to go for the ECW Championship. But yeah, if Chris Benoit and CM Punk would have faced each other that night, Chris Benoit, he would have been the new ECW championship, and the rivalry between him and CM Punk would have been a back and forth rivalry. It would have went down as one of the greatest rivalries in pro wrestling history for the ECW championship. But yes, my fellow wrestling fans, let's chat. You know what I mean? Do y'all feel that Chris Benoit would have defeated CM Punk? Let's have a discussion about this. Don't forget, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell on my channel, comment, share, like the video, and again, my new song, MVP versus Chris Benoit. It's on my YouTube channel, and it's also on my SoundCloud. You can follow me on SoundCloud at WileyG. It's also on my TikTok, and you can also follow me on TikTok at WileyG25. Let's run it up. Let's blow it up. Love y'all.